Hello folks, this is Singing Toad, and today we are looking at the AlphaSteel Karambit knife. So this is the full version of the review, if we can call it a review, that I put a teaser trailer out earlier on about, and so let's get on with it. So what do we have here? We have a Karambit style knife by the company AlphaSteel. So let's go ahead and take it out of the sheath real quick. I'm just going to set the sheath off to the side for a moment. We'll come back to that later. Oops, that tip is super pointy. Okay, so, I don't know how well you can see that. Excuse me. So AlphaSteel, Alpha Gear V1.1, and what we have here, it's a Karambit. It's a fixed blade, so this is not, it doesn't fold or anything. It fits in the hand like so. It has a, like a hard, like plastic or nylon-like material. Excuse me. I'm not sure exactly what this material actually is, but it is a hard plastic of some kind. We have this very aggressive curve, you know, typical Karambit style knife. It does have kind of like a back swedge. It is unsharpened, so it's not a double-sided knife. The edge is only on the one side. Super pointy. I mean this thing's just going to be able to penetrate into whatever you just want to stick it into without any difficulty. Of course, you can hold the knife like so, or you can kind of do the back grip, reverse grip here. Does have this point on the end here. I'm assuming that's meant to be like a glass breaker. Not exactly sure. But overall, I like it, you know. I do. So, might as well get on with some measurements here. Jeez Louise, that tip is so... Every time I set the thing down, it just wants to stab right into my fabric here. Alright, so let's do the measurements here for those who... how do you even measure one of these things? Like, it's curved, right? Like, what do we call this here? So, overall length, if we go from, how do you measure a curved blade? I don't know. So, talking roughly 3.5 inches from the tip to kind of this point here. So depending on where you live in the world, if knife laws about blade lengths matter, this would, being over 3 inches might be a problem some places. Where I live, blade length doesn't matter as much, it's mechanism. That's what the law really goes after. So about 9 centimeters, I'd say. 3.5 inches, roughly. What do we got here? So, at its widest point, it's about 1.5 inches, which is a little less than, what is that? That's 3.5, roughly. 3.5 centimeters there, roughly. It's kind of hard because it's a wedge shape, like you know, it's like a talon shape, you know. So it's, how do you measure this thing really? It's thin. I mean, I can't even tell you what the blade's stock. Can we even see this here? So it's less than 1/8 of an inch. So in millimeters, what is that? Let's just come up here. About 2 millimeters thickness, maybe a touch over 2 millimeters thickness. It's thin, which is good. I like that. You want thin in a slicey knife. Overall length is, what do we got here? 7 3/8. Altogether, that's 10, what's that? 18.5. What is that? 18 and 5. I don't know, 187 millimeters. Am I reading that right? Metric. Sorry. you know, and I mean overall, it's not a thick knife. It's very, very thin. So if we come in here like this, I mean we're talking like half an inch thick or less, which again is centimeter, 12 millimeters roughly thickness. I mean it's a thin, slicey knife, and it's light. I like it. You know, it feels good. Jeez Louise, holy moly! That point is something else. So let's put the tape measure away. You know, you can't do a knife review on the YouTube without doing a size comparison. So for the obligatory size comparison, we have the Spyderco Delica. And we'll go ahead and put in a, that barely fits on camera, but a Victor Einix camping knife, Swiss Army knife. So for size comparison there, I'll just scoot those guys over. And we'll go ahead and bring in the AlphaSteel folding knife. I don't know what the model of this thing's called, but it's a folding knife, so you can see the two of them together. I did do a review on this earlier. All right, put that guy away. And for the fixed blade camp, we have a Mora Garberg. Since this is a fixed blade, I figured it's only right to show a fixed blade beside it. So I mean, all in all, I mean, really, when you look at the length of the Mora, I mean, it's not terribly shorter. Okay, obviously the Mora is a thicker knife, and you know has a completely different philosophy of use than this guy. This is more of like a defensive fighting knife kind of thing, if that's what you're into. It's not really my cup of tea. To me, knives are tools, and that's all they're meant to be used for. You know, if you're carrying a knife for self-defense, I don't even know what to say to you about that. It's not really something I wish to talk about, so I'll leave it at that. But to me, knives are tools and nothing more. They're cutting instruments, and I'll leave it at that. Oh, what else do we got for size comparison? A standard issue pickle. This is a metric pickle. Sorry, I do not have an imperial pickle, so yeah. So it's about 2 pickles long. This is a dill pickle with some garlic for anyone who's interested. Let's get that out of here. All right. Sorry, guys, I couldn't resist. Okay, so talking now about the knife itself. Well, at this point in the video, what I want to kind of talk about is, you know, 3 things that I like and 3 things that I dislike. So I'll go ahead and start with the likes. So the first thing I like is that it does include a sheath. Okay. Oftentimes when you get these types of knives that are made in China, you buy them on websites like Amazon or whatever, these kind of gimmicky looking knives, they don't come with sheaths or whatever. It's nice that at least you have a sheath. I've seen lots of Mall Ninja type things like this that just don't come with a sheath, and it's nice that they do include one. Okay, it's not super fantastic, but they do have it. It does come with a lanyard. I don't think that's actually paracord. No, it's totally not paracord. It's just some sort of like shoelace material. But it is nice that it does, in fact, come with a sheath. And it does fit in there really well, all right, which is nice. Again, let's claw my table back up again. The grips and the ergos on the grips are good. I like this. This thing feels nice in the hand, whether I grip it like so, or I do the reverse grip, or I put my thumb here, or even if I choke up a little bit. These finger choils, they just work. Now, someone with much larger hands or someone with much smaller hands, you know, might have an issue with that, but for me, this is no problem. I wear a size 10 large work glove. That's the size that I wear at work. Okay. I also want to say that I like the construction. It's a solid construction. Okay. Now, I didn't talk about the blade steel, and I'm going to get into that momentarily, but that's actually going to be in the dislikes portion of the video here. But it does feel solid. Okay. Like it's not, you know, like the handle's bonded well. It doesn't feel flimsy. It doesn't feel like I can easily bend or break this. You know, it feels like if I did have to stab this into something, you know, a cardboard or, whatever else, it's not going to break and just come apart. So I do like that it feels solid in the hand. Now, 3 things that I dislike about it. The sheath itself, although I like the fact that it comes with the sheath does not have any type of a pocket clip or a belt clip. Your only option is this lanyard. It's kind of weird. Are you going to wear this around your neck like a neck knife? Let me just come back here for a sec. I don't want to poke myself. This thing is so sharp, I don't even want to attempt to try and sheath it through the viewfinder here. I know I'm just going to stick myself doing that. So I don't think I'd wear this as a neck knife, and the retention is very poor. I mean, it takes nothing to pull that out. So this knife would very easily fall out of if you're wearing this around your neck, this would easily fall out of your shirt and land somewhere that would probably cause an awkward situation. So although I like the fact that it comes with a sheath, I dislike the design of the sheath and that it doesn't have a pocket clip and that the retention system is very poor. All right, let's just get that out of the way here. Another thing I wanted to mention that I don't like about this knife is how dull it is. Now, this knife is on loan to me from my brother. He gave it to me, and he got it brand new out of the box quite some time ago. He hasn't really used it much. I mean, you can tell. I mean, there's no marring on the surface of the blade, but it has the factory edge, and it is dull. I mean, this is a butter knife dull. In fact, I've got butter knives in my kitchen drawer that are sharper than this thing. So I do not like that. That is not cool to me. Knives should come out of the box razor sharp. That's my opinion, okay? If you're a knife manufacturer and you make a knife, shameful. Shame, shame, shame for sending out a dull knife out of the box. Then the last thing I want to talk about is my dislike, and that is getting to the blade steel. This is what Amazon describes as 400C, whatever the heck that is. That is some unknown mystery Chinese steel. Now they say it's forged by fire. That's, I mean, I mentioned that in the review for this knife here. Again, that sounds like marketing mumbo jumbo. I'm not a metallurgist, but I do know a thing or two about how knives are made and how heat treating is done. And forged by fire just sounds like marketing mumbo jumbo to me. So this is an inexpensive, unknown Chinese blade steel. It's not going to perform anywhere good or as close to something like, like the VG10 that this guy has, or the Sandvik steel that this guy has, or any modern day knife that's got like a S30V or better than that. This is probably going to perform kind of like a 420 that Gerber might have. I would assume. When I sharpened this knife, actually, that's what it felt like to me. This thing sharpened as easily as any Gerber 420 steel sharpens up. So I would assume this guy will be basically the same since he's made in the same material. But aside from that, I do like this knife. It's a cool design. It's unique. It's not something you'd ever catch me carrying. Okay, this isn't my knife, but if I did own this, it's not something you'd ever see me outside carrying it, because this to me fits a very unique niche that's outside of what I typically carry knives for. Like I said, to me, knives are tools. They're tools. They're multi-tools, what have you. Knives are meant for cutting things and getting on with your day. I don't have any other purpose for a knife beyond it being used as a tool. And Karambit style knives clearly have a different purpose in mind. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I don't want to get into any sort of a political debate here, folks. But this to me is not the type of knife that I would be caught carrying outside of my home. So they're great for the collection. They're fun to play around with. They're great to go out in your backyard and set up some soda bottles and go cutting through them, or cut a bunch of cardboard up, or tear into a watermelon with this thing and pretend you're a raptor or something, But aside from that, it's not something to carry in your back pocket and go walking around the streets in, because where I live here in Canada, you're in serious trouble if you're caught with one of these walking around. Okay, because you'd have some explaining to do. You'd have some explaining to do, as they say, to the police officers, of why you're carrying something like this in your pocket. All right. Anyway, folks, that's Singing Toad. Thanks very much for watching. Signing out.